Welcome to
I thought y'all knew.
I am your host, Tyrone Bridges. Let's get it.
Never saw it coming. Yet he 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 never saw it coming.
A little bit in the light of my life.
There it goes again.
Welcome, everybody. Just letting you know, got Stan on the line. We're having technical difficulties, and just wanted to let you know that we're starting a little late due to technical difficulties. Without further ado, this is Stan Eldridge, Ypsilanti Township Trust Treasurer. Welcome, welcome, Stan.
Thank you, Tyrone. I appreciate you having me.
All right, you might want to turn your audio on your computer all the way down, well, down as far as you can.
I got it muted there for you.
Okay. All right. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this this big question out the way. The township just took a measure, seeking an independent firm to do a cost analysis for the township. Go ahead and speak about what's going on with that.
Well, I appreciate you letting me speak on this. Let me just. That should be a little better. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So there's been a lot of speculation about this whole thing. And so I appreciate you letting me have an opportunity to speak about what it really is. And Tyrone, it is simply nothing more at this point than a comparative cost analysis to see if the services that are being provided to Ypsilanti Township through the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office are commensurate with the amount of money that we're allocating for it. We, at the township, I've been a part of one previous, I believe there was at least one or two others. We do them about every 10 to 12 years, it seems like, just to make sure that, again, the money we're expending is being returned with the appropriate amount of services. That's really all this is at this point. I think what maybe confuses people to some degree is that there is a part 2 of this study should we get to it. And that simply is, if the cost analysis comes back and shows that there is a discrepancy between payment and services, there is a stage 2 feasibility study that would tell us, is it worth the township looking at doing something different for delivery of law enforcement services moving forward? However, if that cost analysis comes back and says that you are getting exactly what you're paying for through the sheriff's office, then this whole issue will stop at that point.
Okay, we'll do a breakdown basically of what the problem you guys have been going through getting the information from the sheriff's department.
Well, there's 3 members on our police services committee, police steering committee. Is myself, Trustee John Newman, and Trustee Ryan Hunter. John Newman is also an employee of the Washtenaw County offices. He, along with Ryan, myself, Supervisor Stumbo, and others, have been trying to gather information for now slightly more than 18 months so that we could have a better understanding of what we were trying to pay for. The sheriff did provide us with some pricing. It was broken down in certain areas. What we were asking for, Tyrone, was a little bit deeper dive into why certain things cost what they did, what went into that decision making to arrive at those costs. And that's kind of where we have stalled. We have met with County Administrator Greg Dill multiple times. He has been very helpful, very amenable to try and get the information that we're seeking. But at the end of the day, he can only do so much because the office of the sheriff is an elected position, and he has certain rights that he can operate under. So I think the point of contention, if you will, they believe they're giving us all the numbers that we need to have. We're asking for a bit more. When we're the largest provider, the largest vendor of police services in Washtenaw County, we just think we need to have more information to make a better decision. Tyrone, if I handed you that keyboard behind you and told you it cost $5 and you thought it was worth $2.50, you would want to know how I arrived at the $5 price.
Right.
That's what we're asking for. Can you break it down in very minute detail to show us why the costs are what they are?
Right. So with this lack of transparency from the sheriff department and in the hiding the figures, if you will, but that's all what it is. It's the hiding the figures from the public. That's all it is. It's hiding the figures from the public. And what you guys have done, you guys have opened up an investigation into the cost.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you that without naming other municipalities, we're not the only contracting community that's concerned about the pricing. Yeah, I won't speak for the other 6 board members here at the township. I will speak for myself. I've seen the cost in my time on the board rise from the mid 120s, low 130s. Currently, we're paying just over $170,000 per deputy.
Wow.
That's including, Tyrone, I don't like the word, but it's the word that's used often, a subsidy. There is a county-wide mental health millage. Every municipality within the county that has their own law enforcement agency receives money from that millage directly to their agency. We do not have our own police agency, so the funds that would be allocated to Ypsilanti Township go directly to the sheriff's office, same as with the other contracting communities. So
wow.
The mental health millage, then, some of that is applied back to the cost of what we call a police service unit. It's not the cost, it's not the amount of money that the deputy individually makes. It's a conglomeration of everything. And so if we did not have that subsidy from the mental health millage, the actual cost today of a police service unit would be over $200,000.
Wow.
It's anticipated that by the year 2025 or 26, the last year of our contract, I believe it's 26, the cost of a deputy would be in the mid $240,000 for one unit.
Wow.
We think in looking at other counties that surround Washtenaw County, be it Oakland, Livingston, Lenawee, Monroe, Jackson, Wayne, they are not showing those same types of costs. And so that's really what kind of prompted this, is not only the cost that we're paying and what's afforded us in the next contract, but what are like counties that surround us paying for the same type of services.
Right.
And certainly have that discussion. Is it apples to apples, oranges to oranges? But when you break it down at its most finite minutia, we're paying considerably more for a police service unit than our neighbors in other counties are paying.
Wow. Now that right there is something. So the township is basically looking into what taxpayers are going to pay for.
Right. We want to make sure that the money that residents of Ypsilanti Township are being taxed for police services are being used correctly, wisely. So when we put out the request for proposal, or the RFP, we broke down exactly what we were looking for within that, and we received 4 bids from around the country back. 3 of the 4 bids from around the country. The 4th one was local. We looked at those costs, and we ended up interviewing 2 of the firms, and we selected a firm out of Washington, D.C., who has done just over 450 of these similar studies around the nation. And they have a broad background. They are actually going to have people here in the township with us during the survey. It's not simply going to be them coming in and drawing data to make their analysis. They also want to talk to residents of the community. This is going to be a very transparent process.
Right.
So we selected this company because of their size, their experience. They have no ties to anybody at county government. They have no ties to anybody at township government. So it should come back as a very unbiased study and give us a better answer as to what the path forward looks like.
Right. And actually, how many deputies are you guys paying for currently?
Tyrone, we are currently contracted for 35 deputies. However, since I've been in this current position, I don't believe we've ever had more than 32, and right now we're running at about 29 or 30. So, and that's certainly not to cast any blame at the sheriff's office. I think trying to staff law enforcement agencies anywhere in the country right now is certainly challenging for a variety of reasons. But if that's what we're contracted for, then we need to figure out a different way to deliver this contract or adjust those numbers.
Right. So the next step would be you guys would get the figures back.
Yeah, we think that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 3 to 4 month time process, probably closer to 4. This group should be on the ground hopefully within the next week to 10 days. The length of the study will depend, in all honesty, on how much cooperation they get when they try to gather the information from different entities, whether that's the sheriff's office, the county, the township, any number of areas. They'll also be using some national numbers and some comparative costs and similar municipalities.
All right. So all this information basically could have been FOIA, right?
Yeah, it certainly could have been. Our contention, at least mine, again, is we are the single largest vendor in the county. We pay roughly $6 million a year for police services. I'm not sure why we would have to FOIA information on a contract that we pay for.
Right.
So
when it should be a transparent process.
Yeah, we did actually end up getting some information after a bit of persistence, but not near to the degree we believe that we should have.
Right.
Company will come in, they'll ask for the same information. If they don't receive it, they'll go through a FOIA process, and there's other ways that they can gather that information as well. So,
wow. Now, y'all working on the county's deadline, or what are y'all working up against?
well, the county deadline was actually over a year ago. When our last contract ended, they simply forwarded you what they believe the new contract should look like. There's no negotiation. We weren't involved in any sit-down discussions about what those costs would be. We were simply given a contract, said if you want police services, this is a cost. If you don't want it, don't take it. So there was no meeting of the minds, if you will. There was no partnership involved. We were simply given a contract. There's no urgency. There's no deadline right now because we have this contract until 2026. So we think this cost analysis study, again, should be completed in 3 to 4 months, probably closer to 4. Depending on what that says, if they believe that we're getting the right services for the right price, then we'll be done. If they do not find that, then the township board as a whole has to make the determination as to whether we move to step 2, which is that feasibility study to tell us if there are alternatives for us as it relates to police services. That then would certainly be a little bit longer process.
Right. And then you could actually lend your study to the other inquiry minds as well, right?
Absolutely correct. There's benefits of both ways as we look forward. If we end up staying with the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office, that's a proven agency. We've made it clear in our meetings, we've made it clear in every discussion, and I would be not doing my job if I didn't mention it here. We have absolutely no complaints, none whatsoever, with the men and women who go out on the street every day. This has nothing to do with them.
Right.
If we decide, if the study tells us we have to go in a different direction, then that opens up a lot of possibilities. Tyrone, you know my background in law enforcement.
Right.
I'm certainly believes in law enforcement. However, I think there's a different way to do the job. It doesn't have to be all the way to the right. It doesn't have to be all the way to the left. And sometimes I think we get caught in that cycle that, we can't find a common ground. So I think there's a different way to do law enforcement policing services so that it's more beneficial to the community. So if we end up moving to that second stage, and again, at this point, it's a big if, but should that happen, then there will be a lot of community engagement. What do residents want to see in a law enforcement agency? What are residents looking to get out of this? How do they believe a community such as Ypsilanti Township should be policed? One of the questions I had well over 9 months ago, I'm going to say now at this point, is I asked a question of officials at the Sheriff's Department, and it was basically this. Can we have a say? Can we have some input into how our community is policed? Because we are not like other communities in a variety of ways, nor are they like us.
Right.
The fact was, we police every contract community the same way. I don't think we do that in today's world because we all have different needs as communities. We all face different challenges, and you can't simply give me a one-size-fits-all to anything.
Right.
So, it's certainly disheartening that we're at this point, but I think it's something that if we are doing our job here as fiduciaries of the people's money, then we have to look at this every so often because, much like us, these positions are elected every 2 to 4 years, depending on where you sit within the county. And we, no matter who is sitting in these chairs, has to come up with a system that is fair, equitable, participatory, and is able to withstand the review, whether it's of a community contract or with the public at large. We should be able to pull all these documents out in the light of day and let everybody read them.
Right.
And studies are done here, they will be more than open to the public. We're going to include the community in these discussions as we go forward. We may not always agree on the same path, but I think as long as everybody has a voice at the table to state their reasons, that's a positive. And once these studies are done, we will open them up so that the public can read them from front to back, up and down, left and right.
Right. There you have it. A ball in a nutshell. The reason why the township has sought an independent firm to look into the cost. Now you hear it from a township trustee member. He's a treasurer. He's one of the board members of this subcommittee. And who else is involved in that subcommittee?
Trustee Ryan Hunter and Trustee John Newman.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Tyrone, if I could just add one thing.
Sure.
We as a board, and I can tell you that I speak for all 7 members here. We welcome any input that community members and business owners would like to offer. They can do that in an email. They can stop in and see us at any time. They can do it in a letter, a phone call. They can attend our board meetings. We welcome as much input and as many differing thoughts and ideas as we move forward as possible so that we make this a win-win for everybody.
All right, great. When is your next board meeting?
Actually, tomorrow night. We have changed the time of our meetings. I don't know if everybody's quite aware of that. We meet the first and third Tuesdays of every month, first and third Tuesday of every month. And we simply now have the one meeting that starts at 6 p.m.
Okay. All right. And audience participation, how is that structured?
You can speak on any issue that comes before the board. And we also have a public comment section where you can get up and speak on items that aren't currently before that board the evening that you're there. Or you can continue to speak on a topic that we've discussed or still waiting to discuss. But there will be multiple chances for members of the community to speak.
All right, great. And they can ask questions as well to the sheriff department. Why are y'all hiding the figures? That's important.
To talk to anybody they like, including their county commissioners. One of our fears, Tyrone, is that county health millage, that mental health millage that we currently have out there, it's due to expire soon. And there's no guarantee that the county is going to bring it forth again. And if they do decide to bring it forth, there's no guarantee it would pass the voters. Although we're hopeful that it would, there's no guarantee of that.
Wow.
So then we lose that subsidy, and that's when you will see the prices skyrocket even more.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's due to expire when?
Believe it. I believe the millage expires this year, and the money that comes from it would end, I believe, in 2025. So, if that money is not out there, then that deputy that's currently costing us just over $170,000 would shoot up to over $200,000, and by the end of the contract, we'd be in the mid $240,000s. And should that occur, there is no guarantee that the county commissioners will allocate any additional funds to law enforcement throughout the county. That's where they allocate their general funds.
Wow.
But we've heard nothing that would give us confidence that would happen.
Wow. Well, if there's nothing else, I thank you very much for coming on the show and giving the listeners an earful as to what was in you commissioners, your trustees' minds when you was seeking the independent consultant.
Tyrone, I thank you for having me on, and I know you've been doing a lot of work in the community for a lot of years. Just so you know, we certainly appreciate everything you do to help this community.
All right. I thank you very much once again. This is Tyrone Bridges, What I Thought You Knew. This is Stan Eldridge, Ypsilanti Township treasurer. He brought it. He brought it. This is all I need to tell you guys. Watch the figures. Watch the money. Watch where the money goes. All right, Stan, I will holler at you later. And thank you for coming on the show.
Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.